In color fields, the idea was to bring together important examples in painting, mostly from the 1960s, and situate them inside a political frame using video clips and newsreels of the era. We were hoping for a little bit of tension and some self-inquiry about the role or the disconnect between creativity and relevance. The phrase or the name color fields was an attempt to broaden the art historical name for this style, which might typically be called color field painting. All of the pictures except one are from the Guggenheim collection in New York, and there was an important loan from Guggenheim Bilbao of the Larry Poons painting. The composition of the exhibition is deliberate, of course, and so people come in from the street looking at Hans Hofmann because he's one of the most influential artists of that era, and as you probably know, is German-born, with a reputation essentially in the States, less of a reputation in Europe. But his deep connection to color and sensation informed these artists, and he was even the teacher of such artists as Helen Frankenthaler. Then at the end of the room, because remember it's a single gallery, is this big picture by Frank Stella, which is technically not a color field painting, but it's meant to show what happens in the era immediately after this. So it's a foretaste of what's to come, this big, new, revived interest in geometric abstraction. As you see in the show also, there's a countervailing sentiment among some people, even at this moment, some of whom are attracted to color, to introduce space and illusionism into the painting. I think the Jensen pictures back here, the Alfred Jensen paintings, infer that there's a different kind of spatial organization from this big field, that it can be an organization that's more indebted to architecture or Euclidean space. So multiple ways of looking at the 60s. It's a very vibrant movement, period, both in Europe and in America and Latin America. So a rich time that we don't fully understand yet. One of the intellectual powers and one of the constricting aspects of these pictures is that they were talked about by theoreticians when they were being made. So that was a somewhat unusual propagandistic assessment at the time, particularly by the writer Clement Greenberg, who might have had too big a stranglehold on the way people saw the paintings. Typically, in the States, it would be called formalism. So the notion was to expunge all subject matter out of the paintings, and that they be pure abstractions, the flatter, the better, and in a way, removing the artist's hand is a great attribute as well. So yes, formalism as a concept was the overlay of seeing these paintings at the time, and our project became, of course, how to blow that apart and change it. One thing that was appealing looking back now was to read the literature of the moment, and we reprint a very important Greenberg essay in the catalog, and to try and connect that to public events or news events of the era, and then ask the rhetorical question, how can an artist make relevant work? How can work be relevant, and what is relevancy inside creativity? We don't answer that question, but it was a rhetorical beginning for the exhibition.